Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this Spellbinders card making project. I'm going to run through a few of the items that we're going to use in this project. Everything I do use will be on my blog. Please check that because there'll be the title of the item, and if there's a link available there'll be a link for you to get more information. All my project details I always put on my blog. There's over 360 different projects on there at the moment, something for everybody. And on YouTube there's over 500. So in this episode we're going to use some of the texture paste background that we made using an embossing folder. So for anyone that has just watched my mini-series, I did a 7-day mini-series on texture paste, and I had a comment about somebody I'd like to see it being used. Well, this one's for you. So the first thing from Spellbinders we're going to use is a Circles and Diamonds embossing folder. Now this is the embossing folder that we used with our texture paste, and the texture paste item that we're going to use is the background. It was the Cerise and Gold texture paste mixed media. And I just want to show you how it will incorporate into your card making so that you can give it a go, because it's not as difficult as you think and it does give a great effect. So that's the first item. We're going to be using the journaling words. Now I think this is a go-to product. There's 92 stamps on this set and they're all different words that are so useful, including amazing, adorable, growing, happy, family, soul, love. There's so many different words and they were going to work for so much more than just journaling. So we're going to use that, and then we're going to use the Zenspirations alphabet set. Show you it the other way around. And these again, very useful. So the card that we're going to make is actually quite a quick card, but because we've got the texture paste technique in it, it's kind of like it will make your project a little bit longer, shall we say. I just want to point out one more item that I'm using, just for fine line details. I'm using the new Spectrum Noir metallic pens, and these are the Rare Minerals assortment. There's 6 pens in this set, and they work superbly on black card. You get the best effect on black card. So those are the pens. So the first thing that we need for our base is our 7x5 base card. I'm using a white base card, and I'm going to use a bone folder just to make sure I've got a nice, smooth, neat edge so that it stands up nicely. Now I've had a message from somebody this week saying, why do you repeat yourself? Because I've heard you say that. Well, I repeat myself because even though you might have heard that, somebody else might not. So I'm sorry if I sound like a parrot. Just turn the sound off and just watch me without the sound. But that's why I say it every time, or try and remember to say it every time. So that's our base card, a 7x5. It's my favourite size. It's I think the ideal size to work on because it's not too big, not too small. It's going to look impressive on a windowsill, and it's not over daunting to any new crafters. So we're going to do the inside first. Now I've cheated a little bit because I've gone ahead and done it, because it's not something that you're going to want to sit and watch. What I've done is I've used the journaling word stamps, and I've stamped the word friend 7 times along the bottom, just higgledy-piggledy, as it were. And then freehand, using a black fine liner, I've drawn boxes around the word. And you can see that I haven't been very neat doing it. And because I haven't been very neat doing it, I thought, well, how can I disguise my unneatness? So I've done a kind of stitch line around the words to take the eye away from not being able to draw a straight line. Sometimes I can draw a straight line, sometimes I can't, and on this occasion I couldn't. And I thought, well, if I can't, you know, there's probably a lot of people out there that can't as well. So if you look at this one, where it's imperfect, because I've drawn the stitch around it and then inked it, you know what, it doesn't stand out so much. So don't be frightened to use freehand on your card making, because for what you think isn't perfect, either disguise it or still use it, because again, like we've said before, nobody's going to hand the card back and go, oh, you know what, I really don't like that because you can't draw a straight line. So just think of a way that you can disguise it if you're not happy with it. I've inked up to the edge of the word friends, and then I've used the embossing folder and I've just embossed the edge. Now, because it was a smaller size, I used the embossing folder up to there, and then I put the card and the sheet back in again and embossed further up. I've also used a little bit of gold wax on there just to give it a touch of shininess. I've got double-sided tape on the back. Actually, the back, you can see where I've embossed one edge and stopped, because obviously I've inked it on the front, so you can see the embossing on the back. But it's just another way to use your embossing folders, and it won't affect the card closing or opening. So we can pop that in the middle like that, and we've got a lot of room for you to write your message to your friend and wish them a happy whatever day it is. So now we can go to the front of the card. Now, the base layer is a nice gold shiny layer. I could have been frugal with this and economical and saved the centre, but on this occasion I haven't done. So I've got double-sided tape on the back of it, and I'm just going to add it as our base layer. Now, I've got to admit, this is super shiny mirror card out of my packet, just a general mirror card. And because I've got sticky fingers, I'm just going to give it a wipe, because it picks up everything. You can even see the reflection of the camera and me. Yeah, give you a wave. So you can't say you haven't seen me today. So that's super shiny and picks up lots of fingerprints. So I'm just going to give it the wipe. So the next layer is a nice layer of black cardstock, and this is where I've used the new Spectrum wire pens. And you can see the stitch detail I've added around the edge. I've done it by freehand just to tie in with the inserts, because then you've got the same pattern on the inside as you have the outside, and it's just so pretty. And you see how the detail stands out from the pens. The great pens on black, honestly, I can't say rave about them too much. So that's just a pretty effect for anyone who thinks, you know what, I'm going to give that a go. Do try it. And to be perfectly honest, if you don't have dies to cut layers and you have to cut freehand, and hypothetically you might not cut straight, then adding a stitch line around the outside, hide a multitude of sins. So that's one to just remember, is that, because you could use any kind of stitch line. Okay, so that's our next layer. Now we can add our texture layer. So this was in my mini series all about texture paste, and I think if my memory serves me correctly, it was day 6. I will add the link underneath in the blog so that, you know, if you want to watch it, please do, because using texture paste with embossing folders is excellent mixed media. It's a good technique. It's something that's very simple and easy, and I think you'll love it. It's not messy. You know, you've just got to make sure that day after you've done it, because you want overnight drying time, just remember to wash your embossing folders and wash your tools after you've used texture paste. But it dries absolutely beautifully, and it's going to work so well with this project. Now, it's quite thin, because as the texture paste dries, it dries down to like a a paper layer. I've got double-sided tape on the back of it because that's all you need. And I'm just peeling the back of it away. It's not too thin, it's not like tissue paper, but it depends how thick you put your texture paste on. So I'm going to add that through the centre of the black layer, like so. So now our card is coming together. I'm not worried about these rough edges because it's going to add to the effect. If you like nice and neat and everything has to be very perfect, trim it. You know, there's no reason why you couldn't make it just that bit bigger and then trim it to a certain shape. But I wanted it rough around the edges on this one. So what I've done is I've die cut using the alphabet the word friend, and I've die cut it in the same gold that we've got on the base layer. Now the alphabet has these gorgeous details of little hearts running through them, and it self-embosses when you put it through your machine. If it doesn't emboss, then you know, use your embossing mat after you've die cut it just to pick up the detail. But for me, one pass and it gave me all the detail as well. So I've taken it through my Xyron machine. I'm going to mention the stamps as well actually, because while they're all on the same page. These are the journaling stamps. I've stamped them in white ink and then I've heat embossed them using white embossing powder on black cardstock. I've picked out 6 words: amazing, love, happy, silly, thankful, awesome. So those are 6 words that could describe a friend. So I've taken it all through my Xyron machine, and now I'm just going to start adding the letters on top of the texture layer. Taking it through the Xyron won't hurt the embossed details. It won't change it in any way. I just need to check that I'm spelling the word friend right. We don't want to be putting fiend or fried. So I know it's I before E. Yeah. So my worst nightmare doing something like this on camera and spelling it wrong. And then you all writing in and going, oh, why did you spell it like that? So once you start positioning them, if you're not happy with where you've popped them, because you're using the Xyron, you can just quickly replace them until you're happy. And once you're happy, you can press them down firmly. There we go. So I'll just add my D to the end of friend. There we go. So now we've got our main word. I can press them down because I'm happy with the position that they're on. They're going to stick to the layer underneath. If you want more glue, add more glue. If you haven't got a Xyron, you know, just use liquid glue. So now I can peel my words off, and I'm going to peel them off in no particular order and just add them to either side of the letters like this. Just sliding them under a little bit, but not being specific. So it's quite a modern looking card, I think, with the colours and the texture. And what's the word? Love. And the last one, amazing. Great for anybody who's got amazing friends or silly friends. There we go. And that is actually our card finished. Something a little bit different. You see how it all matches in with the words and the stitches and the colours. And I think the texture, because I've used the cerise texture paste with the gold, it works so well to stand out against the black. Stands up nicely. Any friend would adore that. that. And I just think it combines everything so perfectly. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this. Please give me the thumbs up. Please share it with your crafty friends. Please share any of my crafty videos. If you've got any comments, anything to say, please feel free. I can't always reply on YouTube because there's a glitch on my account. And no sooner have I replied than it deletes or loses my reply. So it's a bit hit and miss. So it's easier for me to say that I can't reply. But I can reply on Facebook and on my blog. So please feel free to comment there. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.